Although a round behind, Blackburn Rovers had been widely considered a good cut bet this season, and inside the first minute at home to Coventry City they went in front. Tim Sherwood released by Graham Lasso, a clinical finish from the skipper, and that seemed likely to set Blackburn up for a smooth passage. But Coventry recovered well. In the 28th minute, Ian Jess got in the way of a thumping shot by Paul Telfer, but he steadied himself to rifle the ball home. A minute before half-time, the visitors went in front. Gary McAllister and Jess combining before Noel Whelan set up Darren Huckabee. The New England under-21 star finished expertly. After the break, Coventry City's sole survivor from their 87 Cup triumph, Steve Ogrizovic, kept them on the road to Wembley. Brian Burrows was adjudged to have fouled Kevin Gallagher inside the box. The referee Stephen Lodge punished Burrows with a yellow card, but he was in no doubt that it was a penalty. Then Ogrizovic magnificently saved Chris Sutton's spot kick and also gathered up the rebound just in time. Coventry through to round 5 for the first time since they won the Cup. They'll next meet Midland neighbours Derby. Second Division promotion chasers Chesterfield were hoping to create history at the recreation ground, and a whole town hoped the club could reach the last 8 for the first time in their 106-year history. A local derby to savour against the Premier League club Nottingham Forest from just down the road. Match commentary from Gary Bloom.
Beaumont. Oh, that's a great ball. Howard. He's surely going to win inside a penalty. And Crossley could be sent off. He is off. Crossley has been sent off. And Chesterfield have the penalty. I don't think Crossley can have any complaints about this. Howard was clean through. Forest do have, I think, a substitute goalkeeper in Alan Fettis. Tom Curtis to take the penalty for Chesterfield. And he scores! It's all over! Chesterfield are through to the 6th round of the FA Cup. A penalty by Tom Curtis is enough to write a new chapter in the history of Chesterfield.
Leeds United hadn't conceded a goal in 5 starts in the Premier League, but against Division 1's form side, the record went inside 7 minutes. Lee Bradbury's left-wing cross headed home by Alan McLaughlin. Even though Pompey lost McLaughlin soon after with injury, they had Leeds in deeper trouble. Bradbury's header struck Gary Kelly on the line, and the referee Paul Alcott awarded a penalty. Leeds were mighty relieved that Nigel Martin produced his 2nd penalty stop in the Cup this season to deny Fitzroy Simpson. A big let-off for Leeds. They rallied in the second half. Rod Wallace opened up the Pompey defence, and Lee Bowyer slid home in the 50th minute. But Portsmouth simply stormed back, and on 66 minutes their Swedish striker Matthias Svensson spun away from Rob Molinar and clinically finished into the far corner. His 6th goal since arriving from the Swedish champions Ulfsborg in November. And 4 minutes from time, Pompey booked their place in the 6th round, Svensson bursting clear and delightfully presenting Bradbury with a tap-in, his 12th of the season. Leeds rallied again. Bowyer turned in Lucas Radabé's cross in injury time, but it was too little and too late. George Graham undone by his old ally, Terry Venables, Portsmouth's 6th win in a row. Birmingham City were looking for a win to keep their season alive, and they looked well on course when Anders Limpar's corner was only half cleared by Brian Carey. It fell out to Steve Bruce, and the veteran centre-half applied an expert finish past Andy Marriott, his first goal in Birmingham's colours. But that seemed against the run of play, and in the second period it was all Wrexham. 6 minutes after the restart, Peter Ward's in-swinging free kick met by Brian Hughes. Ian Bennett in the Blues' goal had no chance. The tie swung Wrexham's way when City's top scorer Paul Devlin was sent off in the 57th minute for a dangerous challenge on Martin Chalk. Devlin looked aghast at the decision, but the referee Martin Boddenham was in no doubt it was high, late and dangerous. Birmingham down to 10 men, and Wrexham exploited the extra space to great effect. A corner from Ward, Tony Hume's near-post header getting through despite the combined efforts of Bennett and Michael Johnson on the line. And in the final minute, Wrexham made sure as their top scorer Carl Connolly ran through and touched the ball over the line. With that, Birmingham's season appeared to disintegrate. Wrexham through to round 6 for the first time since 1978 and only the third time in their history. QPR made the trip across London intent on denying Wimbledon the chance of a Wembley double this season, and they looked on course when an excellent flowing move ended with Mark Haitley steaming onto Gavin Peacock's cross to head home on 41 minutes. But that lead lasted just 2 minutes. Alan Kimball's near-post corner, Marcus Gale beating Alan MacDonald and flicking home his 12th of the season, the Dons dead ball kings once more. The winner was a gem from open play. Robbie Earle picking up Leonardson's pass, jinking inside Carl Reddy and curling a beauty into the top corner. A goal that helped install Wimbledon as cup favourites. A full house at the Pulse Stadium for a Yorkshire derby. Bradford hoping to upstage big city rivals. The visitors weathered some severe pressure. Late on, David Hurst broke clear to set up Richie Humphreys. His shot diverted by Nicky Mohan into his own net. Wednesday favoured by the run of the ball there, but otherwise showing the character that's made them one of the hardest Premier League sides to beat this season. Chelsea, the conquerors of Liverpool in round 4, met Premier League opposition again in round 5. Could their foreign legion keep them on the road to Wembley against a depleted Leicester side still doggedly pursuing cup success on 2 fronts? Match commentary comes from Alan Parry.
Chelsea's best little spell. This is Grayson. Oh, there's a disappointing cross, and it's opened up some room here for Chelsea. And Grayson struggling to get back. Petrescu into the space, and he finds Hughes. Danger here. It's 2-0. Mark Hughes increases Chelsea's lead in the 36th minute. And any vantage point will do for this sellout tie. Not quite sure what kind of view they got from that distance. But could they see a goal here? Yes, for Walsh. Leicester have pulled one back. Now, could this be the moment for Leicester to draw level? Oh, is there a goal? They have! Eddie Newton knocks the ball behind his own goalkeeper, and Leicester City have snatched an equaliser.
A cup tie embodying the romantic traditions of the FA Cup switched to the ultra-modern Riverside Stadium. But on 14 minutes, Stuart Lake headed down Paul Carty's free kick and Joe O'Connor drove past Ben Roberts. Most couldn't believe it, but Hensford's travelling support realised they could be about to make cup history. Borough was struggling to regain their composure when they were gifted an equaliser. Juninho's free kick, Andy Comyn trying to clear, with the ball rebounding off the unfortunate Colin Lambert. In the second half, Hensford resisted all attempts by the multi-million-pound stars ranged against them until the arrival of Jan Fjortoft as a late substitute. It produced an immediate and dramatic goal. Borough in front on 85 minutes. Henford's hearts close to breaking, but they hit the post and then Borough broke. Ravanelli turning home Emerson's low cross to make the game safe at last. But there was still time for a small measure of compensation. Hensford having the last word in a famous performance. O'Connor meeting Devine's cross in injury time. It could have been the greatest single giant killing in years. It will surely be the proudest day in Hensford's 117-year history. Everton won the Cup in 1995, but otherwise round 4's becoming an insurmountable hurdle in recent times. This the biggest embarrassment. Division 1 strugglers Bradford, inspired by a brilliant Chris Waddle, going in front when John Dreyer was set up by the former England winger 4 minutes after the break. 2 minutes later, Bradford went 2 up. Andrei Kanchelskis indulging in some scandalous defending, the rest all down to the brilliance of Waddle. How will have enjoyed chipping Neville Southall from fully 35 yards. Everton did pull one back when Andy O'Brien helped the ball into his own net, trying to clear after Gary Speed had touched on Duncan Ferguson's header. But Waddle's perfect pass sent Rob Steiner clear of Everton's ragged defence. He beat Southall again, and that restored the 2-goal cushion. It was becoming frantic from Everton. They had to wait until injury time to get one more back. Speed's cross going in off the inside of the far post. That set up a few frantic moments of survival before the celebrations could commence. But Everton's season lies in tatters now. Division 3 promotion chasers Carlisle went through to the 4th round for the first time in 11 years. A packed house at Brunton Park setting out to make it a classic atmosphere for the upset. But Sheffield Wednesday quelled the crowd noise when Guy Whittingham headed Wednesday in front from Mark Pembridge's cross. It was an efficient Wednesday display. Hopes of a second-half comeback by Carlisle dashed just 2 minutes after the break. Andy Booth giving Wednesday a 2-goal lead from Ian Nolan's cross, and they protected it with grim intent and good organisation. Leicester's boss Martin O'Neill met his former employers at Filbert Street, and there were some old scores being settled on the field. Ian Marshall putting Leicester 1-0 up on 32 minutes. There was then a double sending off, Neil Lennon and Matt Jackson going off for violent conduct, and then an even more debatable penalty decision by Alan Wilkie. Forbes, adjudged to have been brought down by Gary Parker inside the box. The home fans didn't agree. But Neil Adams took his chance on 39 minutes and levelled the scoring. Another contentious penalty settled the cup tie in the second half. This time Norwich were the team to suffer. Rob Newman adjudged to have manhandled Emil Heskey inside the box. The home fans agreed this time, and Parker stayed cool to fire Leicester into the next round on 67 minutes. An excellent week for Leicester, still progressing in 2 cups in a season full of hope. The holders Manchester United are trying to make it an unprecedented 4th trip to Wembley in a row, but they met a Wimbledon side in the middle of one of their best spells of form ever. Gary Bloom's the commentator.
This is Irwin, runs past Giggs. Solskjaer. Giggs. Cantona. Is this a winner for Manchester United? It is! Scores! Wimbledon trying to get on level terms here. And they've done it! Would you believe it? Robbie Earl makes it 1-1. It comes in stoppage time at the end of the game.
Derby made light of poor Premier League form and a desperate injury crisis to win this battle against the Midlands' biggest club. They survived an early onslaught and produced 2 in 4 minutes before the interval. Robbie van der Laan recalled to the side and celebrating in style on 36 minutes. Villa cracked again after some delightful skill by Alojza Asanovic. Dean Sturridge beating Bosnich once more. Villa threatened to hit back after the break, but the crucial goal arrived for Derby on 70 minutes. Asanovic to Sturridge, and Paul Trollope's chip side-footed in by Ron Willems from close range. Villa did rally, but Sasa Churchish's first goal for Villa from 25 yards only put some small balance to the score sheet. It was a famous win for Derby given their injury problems and a couple of barren months in the league, and more hope of silverware disappears for Aston Villa. Two of the promotion hopefuls in Division 1 proved they can entertain as well in the Cup. Barnsley went in front when Neil Redfern's free kick somehow got through Tony Roberts to give the visitors the lead on 13 minutes. But Rangers' new signings again stepped in to play a decisive part. Gavin Peacock levelling it on 21 minutes after he was sent clear by John Spencer. And Rangers went in front 5 minutes later. Alan MacDonald's long ball knocked down by Danny Dichio, and this time it was Spencer who finished his 9th goal in 12 games since arriving from Chelsea. QPR had to face most of the second period with just 10 men after Andy Impey was sent off for punching Nicky Eden on 50 minutes. A furious melee resulted, but QPR afterwards said they had few complaints about the referee's decision. They also then had to weather some severe Barnsley pressure. But the siege was lifted by a contender for goal of the season from Trevor Sinclair. Dave Watson in Barnsley's goal, helpless and stranded, as Sinclair produced an amazing piece of individual skill. John Hendry pulled one back for Barnsley from outside the box late on, but it wasn't enough to prevent them being beaten by their promotion rivals for the 3rd time this season. At St James's Park, it was Kenny Dalglish against Stuart Pearce. Dalglish still getting to know his new squad at Newcastle, Pearce inspiring Forest to their best run of the season. That's hung in there for Ferdinand, and this time Newcastle United break through, and it's Les Ferdinand with one of the most precious goals of his season. This is Roy. Whoa, thought about the shot on the left foot. It cracked in! Would you believe it? Improvised knock-on by Campbell, and Forest have bodies up here. This is Woe. That's another one, and that is a genuine contender for one of the goals of the season from Ian Woe. This cup tie's been turned on its head.
In great form in Division 3 against Sheffield Wednesday, who'd lost only 1 of 14. Something had to give. We gave the match to John Champion.
If Carlisle's enigmatic chairman Michael Knighton had his way, every match day at Brunton Park would be just like this. All 16,000 tickets went as soon as they were put on sale. The club could have sold at least twice as many. And in the great border city, the locals are absolutely convinced that the great cup upset is a distinct possibility. Much of that faith stems from the unlikely presence of defender Stefan Puniwachi, a regular in the French First Division who arrived on a free transfer under the Bosman ruling. He's one of 3 centre-backs. Number 8, Paul Conway, is the son of Jimmy Conway, who played for Fulham in the Cup final. The team is more sophisticated in style than 3rd Division status might suggest, and Carlisle are unbeaten in 14 matches. Sheffield Wednesday have dispensed with their foreign imports for this very English occasion. Newsom and Collins make welcome returns after injury. They can be excused a few nerves. They've been knocked out by lower division opposition in 4 of the last 6 seasons. Eddie Wolstenholme from Blackburn gets us underway. Carlisle in the blue tops are playing from left to right. It's the archetypal cup atmosphere. Record receipts have been paid by this crowd of more than 16,000. 62 places separate these two sides on the league ladder. And Carlisle reckon they have every chance of causing an upset. This is Lee Peacock. Thought of passing to Archdeacon. Cross is a little too far, it comes to Edmondson. And Atherton can get it away. Shaky start by Wednesday. This is Whittingham. Dangerous to allow him to run. And a free kick goes Wednesday's way. Carlisle have plenty of young talent in their lineup today. No surprise that some of football's biggest names are in attendance. Newsom. Kuniwashi is the Carlisle defender, and it's a Wednesday throw. Mervyn Day, a cup winner in 1975. Flicked off Newsom. Hyde. Oh, and it could fall to Andy Booth. Still Booth. Humphreys. And Craig managed just to get his fist to the ball in the nick of time. Tony Craig has been unsettled in the last couple of days by tabloid stories linking him with a possible move to Sunderland. But when he was put under pressure, he responded admirably. Some of the defending in front of him wasn't the best, but when he was really called upon, he wasn't found wanting. Peacock. Alan Smart was having his shirt tugged by Newsom. Alan Smart, who arrived recently in a swap deal from Preston North End. Here's Edmondson. And now Smart. Can he reach the ball before it goes out? He can. On again. And a clear chance. Oh, Peacock missed his kick. Lee Peacock had a clear chance. Now, will Carlisle live to regret that? Was it the bounce of the ball that defeated him? Smart did ever so well just to get a cross in. It was Conway that flicked it on. And Peacock just took his eye off the ball. It could have been 1-0 to Carlisle. Kuniwashi. Now Whittingham. Booth. Flick is for Humphreys. And on to Pembridge. And Wednesday have three men inside the penalty area. There's the header from Whittingham. And that's 1-0 to Wednesday. That'll ease the nerves that the Premiership side just a touch. But it was something of a sucker punch after Carlisle had started so brightly. They didn't shut the back door properly, and the ideal cross was met with a firm header. Great credit to Pembridge, and Whittingham with his 5th goal of the season. What does Mervyn Day do now? Aspinall. Edmondson. Archdeacon. Hayward. It took a deflection. And it's a corner to Carlisle. Archdeacon. Towards Walling. It's all a tangle in there. Peacock. Archdeacon. Another corner. This time off Ian Nolan. Wednesday forced to defend in some depth. A feat they must now repeat. Archdeacon once more. Newsom, Hayward! Hayward again! Well, Hayward's shot seemed to take some form of deflection on its way past the post. But off who? I think of one of his own players. The Wednesday band can be heard in Scotland today. Hyde. Now Whittingham. Humphreys. Two good tackles, both by Barty. This is Conway through the legs of Nolan. Only Alan Smart is up. Hayward. Lee Peacock in pursuit, and was that handball by Whittingham? It was on the blind side of referee Wolstenholme, and his assistant was on the far side of the pitch as well, and would have been unsighted. We may get a better view. Whittingham is the player in orange, and there was a suspicion of an arm. Peacock. Des Walker. There was no way past him in the first half. Edmondson. Hyde. Aspinall. Pembridge. Nolan on the overlap. Two inside the penalty area. Free header. Andy Booth. 2-0. Understand the delight on the terraces from the travelling supporters, because that creates a comfort zone for the Premiership team. Pembridge created the first goal with a cross from the left. His intelligent pass to Nolan has set up the second, but where was the marking for Andy Booth? Rarely will the Wednesday striker score a more straightforward goal. Janssen will lend some weight to the attack, and Smart has got the better of Des Walker. Here's Smart! Just about the first clear sight he's had of goal all afternoon. And it was surprising that it was Des Walker who, for the first time as well, put a foot wrong. David Pleat can't be too unhappy with what he's seeing. Collins. This is Humphreys. And Booth, off the inside of the post. Andy Booth was unfortunate because he tried to place his shot rather than blast it wide of the keeper, and the idea was to put it inside the post. He was about 3 inches out. Just a case now of whether Carlisle can find some sort of consolation. Thomas. And there is no more time left for them so to do. And Andy Booth's second half goal really killed the contest. After Guy Whittingham with a first-half close-range header had eased the early nerves, Wednesday went on to produce a composed performance, never in too much trouble. Carlisle were tidy but lacked threat in the areas that mattered. And it's Sheffield Wednesday who advanced to the last 16 of the FA Cup after a job well done, for which David Pleat must take much credit. As ever, Wednesday were well prepared.
We were vulnerable here today. You can always be victim of a killing, but they're a good footballing team. They've got a super record in recent months, and they've got a lovely pitch, nice wide pitch, and I think if they continue to play like that, they've got a few younger players, they're going along the right lines. They were quite good.
But you're a happy man tonight, obviously.
Well, we're pleased we're in the 5th round, and you know, you've been the victim of great cup wins in the past and bad cup upsets, and I have to say it's one day where you do feel that stupid word pressure.
I hope everybody has seen what we're trying to do here. We're not a hoof, lump and hope side. You know, we try to play the game the right way. Sometimes, obviously, you come unstuck if you're playing against a quality side like Wednesday, but I don't think I've got the players that could hoof, hump and lump it. And that's the basic, you know, problem. We are a side that likes to play. Unfortunately, I thought our final ball, our final pass, was far below probably what Wednesday's was. And if you look at it seriously, that's probably the big difference between where we are and in the Premier League.
Right, there are 6 other fourth-round ties to catch up on now, starting with Everton against Bradford.
Former England international Chris Waddle gave Everton's expensively assembled struggles a football lesson this afternoon. Having hit the bar in the first half, he helped set up John Drea's well-struck volley. 2 minutes later, it was Waddle who took advantage of an extraordinary piece of football by Everton's Andrei Kanchelskis, but no one envisaged this from the 36-year-old. Even the normally reserved Waddle couldn't contain his emotions. But from this angle, there's no doubting Waddle's intentions. Everton were given a lifeline on 54 minutes when the luckless Andrew O'Brien struck the ball past his own keeper to put Everton back in the game. Bradford remained calm throughout, while Chris Waddle conjured more magic, this time with this through ball for Rob Steiner, the player eventually beating Southall with his clinical finish on 59 minutes. Everton struggled to get back on level terms, but scored a second in injury time. Gary Speed, the scorer. But the day belonged to Waddle.
I knew Neville was out because he came out for the back pass a bit and got my foot round it. And I caught it sweet. And once it left my foot, I thought this was going to be very, very close. And the next thing I do, I saw it hitting the net. But I don't like scoring at the minute because we've got this thing in the club, whoever scores, you have to get beat up in the celebration. So I took a few blows to the head and a few kicks in the back. So I wasn't too pleased about that bit.
Joe, how much does it hurt to go out of the FA Cup like that?
You can't really describe it. You know, I think it's best measured in sleepless nights, and certainly be one tonight.
Derby started without 6 of their first-team regulars and quickly lost another 2. But despite the injuries, a goal from Robin van der Laan, and celebrations straight out of John Cleese's Ministry for Silly Walks. 4 minutes later, Asanovic performed his party piece, all done with the aid of an invisible elastic band, Dean Sturridge providing the finishing touch. The same 2 players linked up well to create Derby's third. Paul Trollope eventually got the ball, and his chip fell neatly onto the feet of Ron Willems. Aston Villa haven't reached the FA Cup final for 40 years now, and Sasha Churchich scored his first goal for the club. It will have come as scant consolation for manager Brian Little.
I would have assumed that Brian wouldn't be too happy. I would have thought that, you know, they had an off day. I think it's fair for me to say that we made them have an off day.
Birmingham progressed to the 5th round for the first time since 1988. Paul Furlong grabbing his 9th goal of the season in the 24th minute, killing off any hope of Stockport maintaining their cup run. 3 minutes into the second half, Birmingham's leading scorer Paul Devlin scored what Bobby Robson calls a Johnny-on-the-spot goal. Well, they all count. Birmingham's third came on 69 minutes. The cross by Furlong, the finish by Kevin Francis. Stockport provided a spirited end to the game with Brett Angel reducing the arrears in the 82nd minute, but it was too little, too late.
Once a hero in East Anglia, the Leicester boss Martin O'Neill is rapidly becoming something of a pest. Having disposed of Ipswich in midweek, similar treatment today for his old club Norwich. Ian Marshall put Leicester in front. Both teams were reduced to 10 men when Matt Jackson and Neil Lennon were sent off. There was more controversy when Adrian Forbes was brought down by Gary Parker. It looked to most of the fans as though the tackle was made outside the penalty area, but the referee saw it differently, and Neil Adams equalised from the spot. If Leicester felt hard done by for that, justice came in the form of another penalty. Emile Heskey was pulled down by Rob Newman, Gary Parker took full advantage, and Leicester remain in both of the cups.
2 former Chelsea players and a spectacular goal ensured QPR a place in tomorrow's 5th round draw. However, it was Barnsley who took the lead on 13 minutes. Neil Redfern's 30-yard free kick embarrassing Tony Roberts. The home side drew level 8 minutes later when Gavin Peacock fired home the superb 20-yard equaliser. QPR's second came from a McDonald-Dichio combination, John Spencer eventually helping himself to his 9th goal in 10 games since his move from Chelsea. QPR were looking comfortable in the second half when Andrew Impey decided to take the law into his own hands, the winger flooring Nicky Eden, his opposite number. The outcome was inevitable. The player eventually escorted from the pitch. Rangers battled on, getting their reward on the 76th minute. Trevor Sinclair scoring what must be a candidate for goal of the season. The technique known as the bicycle kick cannot be better illustrated. 4 minutes from time, John Hendry struck a 20-yard shot that gave Barnsley hope but little else. The away side continuing their dismal record at Loftus Road.
There's something about the FA Cup that Portsmouth seem to enjoy. The key to their victory today was their Swedish substitute Mattias Svensson, who set up the opening goal for Paul Hall and also played a part in the second. It was his through ball which fell to the former soldier Lee Bradbury to rifle in his 10th of the season. Fitzroy Simpson provided the cross for the final goal. The Reading keeper Sal Bibbo couldn't hold it, and David Hillier scored his first since joining Pompey from Arsenal.
Well, Tony Gubba gave us goal of the century last week, so where do these two leave us, chaps, do you think, would you
Well,
imagine?
I think Waddle's goal was the best goal ever. Certainly AD, it's the best goal. Maybe there was one or two before Christ that were better than this, but this is just fantastic. I mean, you've got to have the vision and awareness, and also the hit is just out of this world. You see South off his line. Not many players in the country could do this, and at Waddle at 36, it's just fantastic. Superb.
Well, my man's got to go into the next millennium, I think, hasn't he? I mean, the technique is the most difficult, but also then to go with the power. Usually if you go with a bicycle kick, you're talking about inside the 6-yard box near the penalty spot, but to do it outside the penalty area and get the power and also keep it down to beat the goalkeeper, all those things combined, I just think, well, goal of the century does match that, really. I mean,
Trevor Sinclair, thank you very much. That's it. We're all set for Chelsea against Liverpool tomorrow. And so is our match of the day, man of the day, Woking's keeper, Lawrence Batty. Good night.
Now, I understand that although you used to play for Fulham, you actually support Chelsea, and I think one of the things you've been hanging on to all day, quite apart from defending your own goal, by the way, is that you've got a ticket for tomorrow's live game.
That's it, I'll be there. Matthew Ardison up a tier, watching the Blues beat Liverpool tomorrow.
This is your worst nightmare.
One thing I promise you, you will never forget.